What's up YouTube? Welcome to my channel. My name is Eden. I'm a singer-songwriter and artist based in Zimbabwe. I make original songs, music videos, and animations. That kind of content excites you and it interests you. Make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Also check out my music down below. If you're not new, welcome back to episode 13 of my series Behind the Songs, where I take you guys into an in-depth look at my personal life as an artist, as well as things that I get up to behind the songs. I'm so excited for today's video. We're gonna be making an animated visualizer for my new song, Angry Anymore, premiering on YouTube on the 28th of October. And the tools that I'm gonna be using is the Wacom One Professional drawing pad. By the way, guys, if you're interested in gear that I recommend that you should use for music production and things like that, you should check out my last video. I talk about building your own home studio from scratch under $300, so it's a must-see. Make sure that you check that out. So I'm just gonna plug in my Wacom One. Plugs in through HDMI and power it up. So I took a couple of reference pictures of myself because I'm going to be making like a 2D version of myself and using that for the visualizer. So the program that we'll be using is called Blender. Why we're using Blender is because it comes with this amazing tool called Grease Pencil. You can draw in 3D space. People are sleeping on this program. Anyway, I've opened up Blender and we are greeted by this beautiful default cube. And every Blender user ritual is that you delete the cube. That's like the first step in using this program. And then I'm gonna say file new 2D animation because we're gonna be doing 2D animation. All right, so the first thing I want to do is get just like a sketch going of my, so we're gonna go into object mode and I'm gonna say file, import images as planes, go to my downloads and just download the picture that I took of myself, set it to shadeless, and I'm just gonna move this over to the side so that I can have some space to draw around. And as soon as I've imported my picture, I'm going to insert a grease pencil blank. And by inserting a blank, it means that I can now switch over from object mode into draw mode and draw basically. I'm just gonna go ahead and make a sketch. So I'm making like a really quick, subtle sketch of myself. That's usually like the first step that I go for, is I just sketch out what I see as best as I can. I think I'm gonna have to give myself a bit more of a waist. Like, I don't have a skeletal waist, obviously, and unfortunately. Yeah, and then I'll just draw a line for the pants, where they're gonna go. I like to keep it rough as possible. Okay, and now what I love so much about Grease Pencil, you can adjust your drawing. So what I did was I switched from draw mode to sculpt mode, and I've just increased the size of this sculpting brush, and I'm able to shift my drawing over. Because as you can see from the reference photo, I kind of have like a slight pose going on, and I didn't do that when I was sketching initially, so I'm just going to fix that. Now that I've kind of sculpted my sketch and I'm happy, a bit more happy with the way it's going, I can go back to draw mode and just add some extra lines wherever I see fit. Once the sketch is done, what I do is I switch over to the layers window in the Grease Pencil tool, and I'm gonna leave this layer over here and just call it sketch. Then I'm gonna add another layer and call this one color, and then I'm going to add another layer called lines. This will be our final layer that we're going to attack. So for now, I'm just going to add some color. And what I do is I go to the materials tab in the Grease Pencil tool, add a new material. So now here's the important part. If you want to change your materials, these boxes show you what color you have selected right now. And then this is the fill, and stroke is kind of like the outline. So let me just give you a quick preview of what that looks like. What we're going to do is we're just going to give it a color, say blue. And then as you can see, it's got an outline, a black outline, which is the stroke, and it's got a blue fill. But right now, since I'm doing color, I don't need an outline, so I'm going to uncheck that box. I'm going to use the color pick tool and pick up the color that I see on my pants. Kind of just follow the shape that you've already created, and it automatically just fills it in. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move color below sketch for now in the layers hierarchy, just so that I can see my sketch over my color, because I'm not yet done following these proportions and this guide. Then we're going to call this one pants, and then I'm going to create another texture. Let's call this one blouse. When I'm filling in colors, I'm just keeping it as rough as possible. Not really too concerned about preciseness right now. I'm just kind of going with the flow and filling in as fast as I can. So far what I've been using is just like a straight edge pencil line. But what I love about Blender Grease Pencil is that you can import some really cool brushes. Kind of like how Photoshop has all these different brushes, or like even in real life you have like different sets of brushes and styling, sketching techniques, and that's also pretty much the same with Blender Grease Pencil. So what you do to get different brushes, or what I do to get different brushes, is I go to File, Append. I go to the Daniel Martinez Lara brush pack, which is free online. I put a link down below to the Daniel Martinez brush pack, so you guys can download it if you want. It's totally free, and what you do is you open it up, you go to brush, and then I'm just gonna select all of these brushes right from the top to the bottom, and I click append. And now when I go to select brushes, as you can see, I don't only have the standard default Blender Grease Pencil brushes, but I also have all these really cool brushes from the Daniel Martinez brush pack. FPP Sketch 3 brush for my hair. I just feel like it's the best brush when it comes to hair texture and that kind of thing. And I'm not really going for precise lines right now. Like, I'm not really fussed about that. Now that I have a general guide of what the drawing is gonna look like, I go to sketch and I just reduce the opacity a lot so that I can see more clearly where things are missing and what I need to fill in, so that it's like an accurate representation of the reference picture. Another really cool thing about Blender is that you can select the vertices in edit mode of what you just drew and move it around so that you can reposition them without having to draw everything again from scratch. And as you can see, one of my fingers a bit fatter than the other one, so I'm just gonna hit scale and manipulate the size to what I want it to look like. And there we go, like boom, it's just so functional. I love this program so much. You can even select one vertice point, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on proportional scaling, which means that when I scale this area, it kind of scales the rest of my drawing. And if I scroll with my mouse, I can change the size of that proportional scaling area so that I can sculpt it to be more accurate to the reference photo. So now that I've shaded in some of my drawing and added some little details, what I like to do is go to modifiers, and I'm going to add a modifier called smooth. And what this does is it just goes over some of the lines which were rough and like uneven and blocky, like you can see, and it just smooths them out so that it looks like I drew it in Photoshop and not grease pencil. Okay, now that I'm at this stage, I like to get another reference photo. So we're going to just move this one to the side. And I'm going to go into Pinterest and just find a reference photo. Stylized drawing can be so tricky if you're just doing it from scratch. So it's always good to get as many references as possible. So while I draw my facial features and add some more detail and lines and things like that, why don't you sit back, relax, and enjoy my song, Wine From You.
It's no secret that indeed I have a past. I tried to drown my problems in the bottom of a glass. When I woke, they were still there. The people spoke, everyone knows. I'm the poster child for falling off the rails. I tried to self-medicate, but nothing I could take could ease the hurt deep in my soul till I let it go.
I think I'm really happy with what I've come up with so far. Okay, y'all, it's actually the next day. I decided to just kind of speed past the actual animation stage because this video cannot be 20 hours long. As much as I'd love to take you guys through the whole animation process that I go through, this video would just be too long. It's still the same process when it comes to animation in 2D. It's just that now you're drawing on twos, which means that every 2 frames you're going to draw another pose. And so I sketched in all the poses, I added color, I filled in the details, just like the drawing, the still image that I did earlier. And then I modeled some quick 3D objects and put them in the background and used the array modifier in Blender, which means that it kind of just repeats an object over and over and over. And then I added an HDRI background from hdrihaven.com, I think. So I just played around with the textures and some blur and shadow and some effects to give it that look of being a sunset. So my song Angry Anymore, along with this visualizer, will be coming out on YouTube, premiering on YouTube on the 28th of October, so the last Friday of this month. It'll also be available for streaming on Spotify, iTunes, and all the places. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram and Spotify for some cool updates, and hit the bell for notifications so that you don't miss the premiere for my new song. And yeah, guys, I really had fun taking you along this journey, creating something from scratch. Thank you so much for watching and sticking to the end. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye!